Alarming revelation. Pope John Paul II will rise again as the beast 666. Why does Jesus say, "Blessed are those who keep the words of the prophecy of Revelation," if nobody knows about this prophecy? Nobody knows until now. Those will be blessed who know about it, and this video will reveal it. Apocalypse means revelation. It's the revelation of something that left Apostle John amazed with great astonishment. And this is literal. For he saw a succession in time of 8 kings, and the 6th was also the 8th. This prophecy speaks of the emergence of the Antichrist in the world, which will lead to the end of the world 7 years after its appearance. It must be something important for this to be in all the Bibles of the world. And that prophecy is the revelation of Satan's greatest deception to humanity of all times, impersonating God to deceive even the elect and be worshipped as God. Jesus warns us of this in the Revelation. This is the revelation that is kept for so many years, because no one could understand the prophecy of Revelation until Benedict XVI appeared. The word Antichrist only appears in the Bible in the letters of the Apostle John, and nowhere else it is mentioned, and the Apostle John says the Antichrist is among us, and there is not one, there are many. Antichrist is one who denies the divinity of Christ. That is the Antichrist. First, from John 2, 18 little children, this is the last hour. You have heard that the Antichrist is coming. Well, now many Antichrists have appeared. That's why we know it is the last hour. 2:22. Who is the liar? Precisely, who says that Jesus is not the Messiah? That is the Antichrist, as he denies both the Father and the Son. 23. Whoever denies the Son also hasn't got the Father, but whoever is in favour of the Son has also the Father. 4:3. Who doesn't acknowledge Jesus in that way does not have the Spirit of God. On the contrary, it has the spirit of the Antichrist. You have heard that the Spirit has to come. Well, it is already in the world. Then, what literature and cinema have presented to us as the Antichrist. In the Bible, it is not called Antichrist. It is called the Beast 666. Hence the importance of knowing very well who will be the Antichrist and what conditions must be met to be identified as what the cinema has shown us what is the Antichrist. His name in the Revelation is not Antichrist, but the Beast, and there are 3 which we will recognize as the Antichrist. That is certainly the Beast 666. The Beast 666 must meet 12 conditions for us to recognize it as the Antichrist, and those conditions were left very clear by Jesus in the Revelation. But until now no one had written or understood them, and all these conditions must be fulfilled. First condition, the beast must have suffered a mortal wound from which it healed, and the whole world marvelled after the beast. Revelation 13:3. I saw one of his heads as it was wounded to death, and his deadly wound was healed, and all the world wondered after the beast. Second condition, the beast 666 must have suffered a wound of the sword. 13:14. And deceiveth them that dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles which he had power to do in the sight of the beast, saying to them that dwell on the earth, that they should make an image to the beast, which had the wound by a sword, and did live. Third condition must have been the 6. 17:10. And there are 7 kings, 5 are fallen, and 1 is. John Paul II was the 6th king of the Vatican from the Lateran Treaty, and the other, Benedict XVI, has not yet come, and when he comes, he must continue a short time. Fourth condition also must be the 8th, 1711, and the beast that was and is not, even he is the 8th, and is of the 7th, and goeth into perdition. Fifth condition, the dragon will hand over the throne. 13:2. And the beast which I saw was like a leopard, and his feet were as the feet of a bear, and his mouth as the mouth of a lion. And the dragon gave him his power, and his seat, and great authority. Sixth condition, the dragon will yield great authority. 13:2. And the beast which I saw was like a leopard, and his feet were as the feet of a bear, and his mouth as the mouth of a lion. And the dragon gave him his power, and his seat, and great authority. Seventh condition, will be worshipped alongside the dragon. 13:4. And they worshipped the dragon which gave power unto the beast, and they worshipped the beast, saying, Who is like the beast? Who is able to make war with him? Eighth condition, the beast 666 is a man, not an empire. 13:18. Here is wisdom. Let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 666. Ninth condition, the beast 666 has a name that some gives the number 666. 13:18. Here is wisdom. Let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 666. 10th condition, should reappear and then will be present. Revelation 17:08. The beast that thou sawest was, and is not, and shall ascend out of the bottomless pit, and go into perdition. And they that dwell on the earth shall wonder, whose names were not written in the book of life from the foundation of the world, when they behold the beast that was, and is not, and yet is. 11th condition, when it is made present, all that does not carry the seal of God will remain dumbfounded. Revelation 17:08. The beast that thou sawest was, and is not, and shall ascend out of the bottomless pit, and go into perdition. And they that dwell on the earth shall wonder, whose names were not written in the book of life from the foundation of the world, when they behold the beast that was, and is not, and yet is. 12th condition, will emerge from the abyss, but will march towards ruin. It leads us to the end of the world within 7 years. The Antichrist will present itself to us as an angel of light, says Jesus, not as a demon, but as a saint. Do you understand? And now let's do a Bible study online. Let's see if John Paul II meets or does not meet the 12 conditions to be the beast 666. Does he meet all the conditions or not? Let's see if John Paul II meets all the conditions. First condition, the beast must have suffered a mortal wound from which it healed, and the whole world marvelled after the beast. Among the most notorious events of his pontificate is highlighted the attempted murder he suffered on May 13th, 1981, as he greeted the faithful in St. Peter's Square at the hands of Mehmet Ali Akka, who shot at close distance from between the crowd. Later, the terrorist was publicly pardoned by the Pope in person. Second condition, the beast 666 must have suffered a wound of the sword. To this was added another attack that occurred in Fatima on the night of the 12th to the 13th of May in 1982 by the hands of ultra-conservative priest Juan Maria Fernandez Krohn, who stuck in him a bayonet, a sword, fact not revealed until after the death of Pontiff. Third condition must have been the 6th. John Paul II was the 6th King Pope of the Vatican. Popes are only kings since having territory, and this occurred in 1929 when Benito Mussolini gave Pio XI the Vatican State, Lateran Treaty. Fourth condition also must be the 8th. If he resurrects after the death of Benedict XVI, he will also be the 8th, for the 8th is after the 7th, that is Benedict XVI. And although we consider the Pope Francisco as the 8th, by granting the throne, John Paul II would also be the 8th. Fifth condition, the dragon will hand over the throne. Pope Francis will hand over his throne of King Pope to John Paul II when he resurrects. Sixth condition, the dragon will hand over all power. Pope Francisco will resign from power and will grant it to Juan Pablo II. Seventh condition, will be worshipped alongside the dragon. Both will be worshipped, John Paul II for having resurrected and Pope Francisco for giving him the power. Eighth condition, the beast 666 is a man, not an empire. John Paul II is a man. Ninth condition, the beast 666 has a name that some gives the number 666. As we explained on the web of the Secret of the Stars, that by adding the words Iones Paulus Secundo or Paulo Iones Secundus gives Roman numerals 666. 10th condition, should reappear and then will be present. John Paul II can appear as did the Virgin and leave everyone stunned, and when it is time, resurrect. In a way, last April 27th, when they made him saint, he appeared, symbolically or metaphorically speaking, to 2,000 million people who worshipped him, but they still were not astonished. Somehow, he reappeared after 9 years since his death. 11th condition, when it is made present, all that does not carry the seal of God will remain dumbfounded. But when he resurrects, he will leave all inhabitants of the earth that does not carry the seal of God shocked, baffled and amazed. He can do it, since he is adored by millions and loved more than any other pope. 12th condition, will emerge from the abyss, but march towards ruin. It will lead us to the end of the world in 7 years. Satan will appear as an angel of light, like a saint, not a demon. If it takes the body of John Paul II, the whole world will believe him. It will come from hell and brings us to the end of the world, to the fulfillment of the prophecies. Second from Paul to the Corinthians, 11:14. And there is no wonder, for Satan himself masquerades as an angel of light. This article is a very serious study of the Apocalypse, and if anyone knows of any other person who meets the 12 conditions or can dissemble the prophecy, please, comments are at disposal. But the issue is not to find someone else who can fulfill the 12 conditions of Jesus to be the Antichrist. The problem is that John Paul II meets them all, and this we should talk about. When John Paul II resurrects, the prophecies and dates will be accomplished. Remember, Benedict XVI marks the final times. Also, we must add, to understand the seriousness of the issue of this prophecy, is that eventually it will transcend to the public, that the popes have only territory and therefore are only kings since 1929, when Benito Mussolini gave the Vatican state to Pope Pius XI, and beginning counting from him, John Paul II was the 6th pope. Benedict XVI remains the 7th pope, and the 8th is Francisco, that will hand over the 8th position, power and authority of pope. So, John Paul II will rise from the dead, will rise directly from hell. Satan will inhabit his spirit and will take us to the end of the world within 7 years, counting from his resurrection. And his resurrection will be before mid-2019. This last data is not in the Bible, it's from Jose and Juan Carlos. This is the prophecy of the Apocalypse, which until now completed had not been revealed, and it is now revealed because only now it can be fulfilled, and because the times are final. John Paul II will be the expected one, an unknown Antichrist. Nobody expects it, but remember that Jesus warned us that Satan will appear as an angel of light, like a saint, never as a demon. The deception will be total and devastating. Then, if Apocalypse means revelation, and Jesus wants to reveal something to us, the only coherent prophecy and fitting word for word with the text of Revelation is the resurrection of John Paul II after the death of Benedict XVI and in the life of Francis, the dragon of Revelation. The best thing is that the prophecy cannot be dismantled. No one can contradict the prophecy because it is the revelation of Jesus for the final times. It's hard to believe, but it's the word of God. Jose 01/24/2015.